Welcome back to Twice Half That. I'm Anthony.
You know, he said that, and I was totally like, "Oh, we're starting." Damn, I missed my train.
Yeah, I decided just to start recording because I realized we end up having more debate conversations about shit before we start recording. And then we jump in and we're like, oh yeah, what were we going to talk about? Ah, fuck it, let's do this.
Yeah.
Because I was going on a rant about the fact that Farscape is one of the most underrated and overlooked sci-fi shows of all time.
It's great.
If you haven't seen it, it is 100% worth diving into. I mean,
Einstein's in it.
Just the creatures alone.
Well, cameo.
The creatures alone.
Yeah,
it's all
Jim
the creatures in it
dude who made the Muppets.
are from the Jim Henson. What the hell is it called? Workshop. Like they're all from there, so you're getting good shit. Like it's not low budget shit.
Really, really good. The pilot is a fucking puppet. And when you see it, you're like, wow, that is very, the makeup very is well done.
And you're talking about a show now that's about 15, 20 years old. And even the early episodes, it's like, no, they went above and beyond what a lot of mainstream sci-fi and just regular shows were doing and movies, as far as makeup when they did it. They were right at that edge, and it's just like, the fact that it doesn't get more love.
Better than Star Trek.
Yeah.
It was.
And it's a really cool idea. And it's different than what we were seeing with a lot of the other stuff, especially at that time.
It's Aussie.
Yeah, it's an Australian show.
Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Call that a sci-fi show? This is a sci-fi show.
That's pretty much what the fuck they did. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what they did. I mean, what's funny is I felt like the cameras, like the film work and everything when they're in space is so much better than when they're back at Earth. Like, that felt like mid-90s daytime teen drama show, like camera work. Like, but when they're in the alien worlds, on the ship, all that stuff, it is...
Yeah, when they're on set, it really is. You're watching...
You're on an alien planet.
Show. Yeah. You are immersed in the atmosphere.
And it's, I was going on a whole rant that the fact that like the original Star Trek series got such a huge cult following, and this one didn't have nearly. There was some, because they did, after the series ended, they did come back and make a made-for-TV movie, The Peacekeeper Wars. However, this show ran for 6 seasons, I believe, somewhere in that range, like 5 to 7, and was quality all the way through. It was the great, kind of like what Star Trek does, where it's episodic, but it's also individual. Yeah. Like, so you get the overarching story that carries through the whole thing, but then each episode's its own storyline as well.
But that was actually by design.
Yes.
Star Trek, they had to kind of fight for having any type of fucking arc, period, because Gene Roddenberry was weird. And then Rick Berman was weird because certain shit, stay glued to after Roddenberry died, the creator of Star Trek, but other stuff, open up. And, one thing that was hard for me to get into was Deep Space Nine, just because it felt far too
and that's one I wanted to get into.
Well, the concept was great. It was just the way it was executed wasn't that nice. One thing that I wish they would have stood, rigid to was, science, not against religion, but kind of being all like
more of a science-based society.
This is kind of why what you see this is why. Yeah. There's something behind it, and then to see, coming from someone who's an atheist and kind of a little irritated at how bogged down, my people are in these religions, which, if you want to go down that certain road, it's like those were literally beat into you to subjugate you, and you hold on to them, as if they're some sort of salvation, and they're not. They're honestly kind of, binds that tie you to, earth. You're not allowed to do anything because this religion keeps you bogged down.
That fucking reminds me of something that Vanessa said.
And that is literally, that goes against the core beliefs of what Gene Roddenberry believed. And to see Cisco, a black dude, who, mirrors something that, I am, because I'm Latin and black, it was like, all right, it doesn't weigh a lot, but it's like, okay, yeah, look, a black dude up there, sweet, and then for him to be, drug into that punk-ass Bajoran religion, that shit, it was annoying. I didn't like it at all. It was like, all right, they can have their religion, but it played so much of a big part in it. They were just annoying as fuck through and through. Anytime I seen them, it was like, God, shut up. Fucking A. Like, all you do is whine and complain. If they would have went the Maquis route and stood that, like, a little bit more in that realm, I would have been like, all right, and that's how the Federation gets dragged in, and it's the Cardassians or the Bajorans who keep going through that wormhole and overstepping. That makes more sense than the fucking Federation. Who would just be like, you know what? I doubt this is someone's space on the other side of this wormhole. You know what? I'm not even gonna scan. I'm not gonna check. I'm just gonna start claiming shit on the other side of this in this whole new quadrant. That
Which
makes no
completely
sense.
goes against the Prime Directive.
Man, so I'm like, it doesn't make sense to begin with. You can fix that, and Farscape did that concept far fucking better than, and it seems to me like when Deep Space Nine was coming about, I don't know if someone's seen what Babylon 5 was, and they were like, oh, we gotta take this idea because it is a fantastic idea. They just, Star Trek writers were really good, but they weren't, several were really great, which put them over the top. DC Fontana and Jesus Christ, not Rick Berman, man, I'm really spacing on the dude's name, but there's a couple really good writers that wrote several episodes that were really good. Measure of a Man, where is Data property, or is he, his own sentient being, and that is a huge, that essentially, was the proto argument for creating more of him. And if we're wrong about, him being sentient, are we creating a whole race essentially to enslave, which humans could do? Because if we all now decided every man and woman, their first child is going to be a servile child. You'll have it, they'll be born, it goes into the system, it's raised by the system, and then when they come of age, they're pumped out to do nothing but be a slave. That's, you could fucking, do that as humans. You could do the same thing.
I mean, that's essentially what, through history of slavery, that's what they did, is they had the two slaves breed.
That's not true. There was rules to slavery. So in antiquity, the only real way you could acquire a slave was through war. There was no other real way to do it, because we'd go to war.
Well, then America got a hold of it. And
no.
It was it was the Dutch.
By the time by the time America had started really profiting from slaves, the Brits pretty much controlled the seas, and they were like, hey, no more of this shit.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and that's where the breeding came in. was like, oh, well, we'll just breed them. Because before, in Africa was always a good, source of people because it's the cradle of life.
Yeah.
That's where we started.
Dude, like,
so
like you've been saying, like the stuff that they're finding or potentially finding is just crazy.
Oh, it's crazy.
And if you've ever gone through like history and seen the way that like the Africa was as far as what it provided, where the fact that they believed the Sahara was a sea.
There was a fucking
so you're talking about now.
At one point?
Now it's a very arid area. It's very dry. Finding water other than along the coast is a feat. Did not used to be that way.
The Nile ran from east.
There it is. That was louder
west.
than I was hoping.
And it's all right. It's meth in a can. Nah.
Really
it would be
taste
great
the chemicals.
Coke would probably catch a lot of shit. But instead of coming out with Coca-Cola, like they come out very limited run, like maybe 1,000 cases. Where meth cola,
like Nuka-Cola.
Yeah. Meth in the motherfucking can. Hey, them Germans were high as
oh my god,
fuck off of speed.
Dude,
So were our soldiers, just FYI. But if there's one time I am gonna do speed or the pharmaceutical equivalent, it's gonna be during wartime.
You mean when it's life or death?
Yeah.
If I fall asleep, I could be killed. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be fucking hopped up.
And if I urge you, everybody, go on to Reddit and then go to combat footage, and you will see the new face of war. It is literally me and him on these drones, just flying over trenches, dropping grenades on Russians, on Ukrainians, on anybody really, and people are getting annihilated. It is brutal, and you should watch it so you get, an actual taste of what the fuck warfare is, and not what the fuck our punk ass news likes to slowly bleed to you.
No, like the people in this country follow, and not all of them, the ones that really fucking, the loudest ones, really love to fucking quote their news channel. Whatever fucking realm you're in, whether you are a Fox News or a CNN or a CBS or NBC, whatever.
MSNBC.
Yeah. MSG, NBC, whatever you're into. It's all the same shit that they're pumping and just changing the narrative of it by just changing the emphasis of what they're focusing on just to pedal to what beliefs they've already indoctrinated you with. That's all it is. It's nothing like all of you that are saying, well, CNN is this leftist bullshit, blah, blah, blah. They're giving you the same stories that all of the people on Fox News are giving you. They're just putting emphasis on a different section, on a different subject of it to make it sound...
on the wrong syllable.
Exactly. I've heard that dude's a massive dick. Mike Myers.
Yeah, man. I heard this comes from Dana Carvey.
The pinky.
When him doing his little pinky Dr. Evil thing.
Evil, yeah.
That is, that's Lorne Michaels. Like, the whole impression is Lorne Michaels. He stole it and then puts it in fucking...
So it was Dana Carvey's impression of Lorne Michaels?
And then he had done Wayne's World, and it was doing okay. And then when they introduced Garth into it, Dana Carvey, who's, honestly a far better, comedian.
And a Bay Area guy.
He is
I think he's from San Jose.
Okay, there's a big difference between a comedic actor and a comedian.
Yes.
A comedian is someone who can say, and come up with funny shit, and they're witty on a fly.
Exactly, they're witty.
Happens,
they get it. The comedian can
say it and
sit there and go out. When you go to when you watch stand up, they have written stuff, but a lot of good comedians will riff off of the crowd too.
Yeah, they could do good crowd work. They could say funny shit. You could say
not
something.
like Michael Richards.
Oh yeah, that's Kramer from Seinfeld. He was also a stand-up.
Who was actually one of the only characters worth watching on Seinfeld.
George.
That's George. Basically everyone but Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to rewatch it now, but as a kid, I was like, this motherfucker. In all honesty, Larry David, well, see, Jerry was a big part of the show. They both did write a lot of it, but I do have to give a little bit more to Larry David.
And my dislike of Jerry, and I don't mean Jerry the human, although...
No. When you go as a grown-ass man who has a hit TV show to a fucking high school to pick up a little girl, in all honesty, dude, that's some scummy shit. You're a little bitch for that. I don't give a fuck what you gotta say, how much money you make. You're going after, a little girl.
And it doesn't matter if she's 18 or not.
She's still in high school.
Yes.
You couldn't fucking wait.
And it's like,
you
dude,
couldn't
and this isn't like 19-year-old Jerry Seinfeld.
And if you're her dad, how do you not whoop this nigga's ass? I don't give a fuck how much money you got. The fuck are you doing picking up my daughter at high school, nigga? I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass. As the father of a daughter? Nah. Oh, nothing will save you. I don't operate off of this new stupid bullshit. I operate off of the man code, the real man motherfucking book, which is essentially the base thing as a human. Respect. You do some shit to disrespect me, I'm gonna fuck you up. I do some shit to disrespect you, I expect to get fucked up.
And that's where like the whole First Amendment, well, he can say what he wants, or I should be able to say... Absolutely. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Doesn't matter if I agree with it or not.
But
you have every right, just as a human, to say it, let alone with the First Amendment. You have every right to say it. But it does not preclude you from repercussions for your comments and statements.
It's a Newtonian rule.
So all this stuff with Kyrie recently, with Kanye recently, and those are two, and I'm bringing those two up because it's very fresh, and it is extremely high profile, and probably cost Kanye his entire fortune. Because a lot of it was tied to his contract with Adidas and stuff like that.
Oh, and you're not a billionaire, or all your business deals, all the shit that you currently have coming in, if I can take that away and all that money is gone, that's not what you're worth.
No.
If I take everything away that
could be worth.
Yes, everything I take away that could possibly be taken away, and whatever is left that I cannot absolutely touch, that's what the fuck
essentially,
you're worth.
In his situation, you have a contract. It says that it's worth up to, I don't even know what it was, but I'm assuming it was in the over $500 million. I'm assuming that's what the contract was. Because if he was a billionaire with it, and without it he is no longer, I'm going to assume that it was probably like 600 plus billion. Or million, rather. Probably more than that. It was probably like 800. But... because that's what a lot of these ones are going for now. These contracts with whether it's athletes or celebrities for shoes and their line it's going for a lot of fucking money, especially when they get into like lifetime contracts, like what Jordan had with Nike, what Steph I think just signed or is about to sign with Under Armour. And it's...
See, I'm saying right now, you know what? Fuck it. Trade a couple niggas for LeBron. We could take turns having motherfuckers come off the bench, keep niggas nice and cool, and then when they come in, everybody's good to go in the fourth. I've been saying to do that since we were literally since we were in high school. With any game where you could constantly sub people in.
Oh yeah, the in and out. I was talking about the LeBron thing.
Oh, just in and out. Period. You need to get rid of starter and bench player. No. These are all where athletes who are at the top level.
Basketball. Where you have unlimited subs as long as there's a dead ball.
The game mirrors military, action, so you have to think the same way. I have a unit that is good enough to
Like,
go
you
out.
can't do that in baseball because when they come out of the game,
No, they're done.
You've used that.
Which is another thing I want to mention. Fuck the Dodgers, first and foremost.
Fuck Houston, but hey.
No.
Thank you, Dusty. Dusty, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm gonna add.
Dusty,
Like,
I love
fuck
you,
Houston,
but I cannot.
But
no.
Dusty, I mean,
They got nothing for cheating. They got nothing. They fucking cheated.
They didn't even have,
and nothing happened.
They didn't. All that
What
happened
happened to
was
the
the
Black
manager.
Sox?
All that happened was the manager got fired. That's what happened.
What happened to the Black Sox?
You had six.
Is there a team?
Six guys.
Is there a team? 9. Is there a team? Because it's 18 dudes and half the team did it.
No, I mean, what I'm saying were suspended for life, including Shoeless Joe Jackson, who actually had the best statistics.
Bring him back.
Best statistics of the World Series in that World Series. Yet he's accused of throwing it. So those of you who do not know, the Black Sox are the 1908.
1909.
Is it 1909? Chicago White Sox. I'm gonna look that up while I'm running my mouth. They're the 1908 or 1909 Chicago White Sox. They were playing in the World Series
against the Indians.
I think it was 1919. We were both way the fuck
I
up.
knew something told me it was 1919, and I was like, it couldn't have been. You're totally hella World War One right now.
It was the Reds. They were playing the Reds.
The Reds.
So,
no, they would have been in the same league as the
Indians. Yeah. I don't think they were the Indians yet at that point either, because the Indian name comes from one of their players who was of Native American descent, and he was like one of their best. Knapp, something I can't remember his last name right now.
Call them the Comanches or
whatever tribe he was from.
The Apaches or something cool. The Guardians is shitty. The Commanders is shitty. These are shitty names. Rename your team. Because I call you the Indians. I don't call you the Guardians. I refuse to call you the Guardians. That is a crap-tastical ass name.
It really is.
Centurions would have been better. The Blackfeet would have been cool. Actually, that would have been cool because it kind of would have been like the Black Sox. The Blackfeet would have been badass.
Or just name them for whatever tribe was in that area. Nap-La-Hoey, or I don't even want to try and fucking...
Yeah.
Who was a player and a manager for them from Native American descent, and so they ended up naming them that.
Or call them the La Hoey tribe. Or just call them the tribe. Why wouldn't they just do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you just slide over to the tribe? Who the fuck is going to get mad at that? God, you guys are stupid. That was right there. Rebrand. Just do the whole thing over again. And I'm serious. Do it. When I win the lotto coming up, I'll buy a portion of the Giants and berate the shit out of those owners, whoever they are. But hey, listen to this. 2022 Dodgers, 111-51, lost in the NLDS. Teams to win 110 games and miss the league championship series. Won. Fucking Dodgers suck.
Did the Mariners?
And this is coming from a Giants fan, and we did horrible. But you know what? Ignore that. Fuck the Dodgers.
But yeah, the Black Sox, that's what we're talking about. So the Black Sox scandal was the 1919, as we now know, Chicago White Sox team. They were playing the Cincinnati Reds in the World Series, obviously for the world title. And it is accused that a large portion of the team were paid to throw the World Series. It got found out. It was a big deal, especially at that time.
Oh, it was huge.
It was huge.
Baseball was America's game, but the motherfuckers who played it got paid shit.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it was like $1.50 a game, which, I mean, at the time, it's all like, oh, wow, $1.50, but at the same time, it
was like, oh,
bro,
$1.50.
It's like 45 cents to like 60 cents a ticket. there's 10,000 seats here, 15,000 seats. You're making money, and you're giving me $1.50, which would scale to be like, you know what, fucking a couple hundred, not even a couple $100. The fuck am I talking about? She was like $100, not even.
Yeah, players at that time were not. They were making a few $1,000s a year, which was still, you know, money. But
Willie Mays and McCovey weren't even compensated for their play.
You know, a lot of players at that time had to work in the off season to supplement their income, whether it was barnstorming, which is going around playing in, you know, a bunch of different towns, like basically you're like a traveling team.
You're essentially what wrestling was.
Yes, exactly.
Which is why wrestling was huge back then. Because at the time, the highest paid athletes in America weren't even boxers. They were wrestlers because of the nature of wrestling. You know, even if you're just doing regular catch submission wrestling, you know, in 3 bouts, you know, in that one, you know, tournament, we each had, you know, 3 bouts, and in that bout there's 3 motherfucking sets that we gotta fight.
Yeah.
So you're doing it a lot. You can do it a lot, and you can easily tap. It's not like, you know,
and especially in
boxing,
you know, professional wrestling where there's not a ton of actual content.
Well, and motherfuckers realized that with that
it's more of a ballet.
Well, not only that, we can get in submission holds, get out of the submission holds, hit a dude till he's, you know, fake hitting him so it looks a certain way. Because you got to remember, boxing at the time, you know, in 1919, we're going to shoot up, you know, 30 years to like maybe 40 years to like 1885 to like 1900. I'll put that 15-year range, where there was a boxing match in the Bay, but because they were all like, you motherfuckers are putting on quite the violent match, because I think it ended up going like 52 rounds. Homeboy's eye was hanging. Jesus. It was brutalist. They held it on a fucking barge, just out in the bay. Anchors down, let's do this. You're literally bobbing in the bay. It is seldom, you know, it's not choppy there. So
every once in a while you'll see, and it's like, oh, it's actually pretty smooth, but that is a rare
You got
occurrence.
some healthy sailing. So, you know, wrestling was able to make a decent amount of money because I could legit, you know,
because the goal wasn't to knock out your opponent.
No,
the
it's
goal
all psychology.
The goal was to make the crowd think you knocked out your opponent.
No, it wasn't even that. The goal was to make, if I'm the bad guy, the heel, the goal is to piss the fucking crowd off to the point they hate me. Back in the day, some wrestlers got stabbed on the way to leaving the arena because people hated them so fucking much. They're like, you bitch, you took the championship away from Tone. Little do they know, you know, we decided months ago that he wasn't going to get the title till they got sufficiently worked up. I got stabbed. Like, no, you didn't. Look, oh shit, he's leaking pretty good. We got to take this motherfucker to the hospital. You know, and then because he came back and he said that to you, him, you guys are all baby faces, the good guys.
Yeah.
You have to go and get bad guys to help me. I can't be seen leaving with you because that's gonna blow the motherfucking, you know, the show. They're gonna know.
Behind closed doors, we're boys. Out in public,
we hate each other. We fucking hate each other. And that's how you built, you know, money. And that's what Mayweather was trying to teach a lot of these boxers. Don't take it personal. I'm being a dick, so motherfuckers want to see me get my ass whooped. It's not gonna happen. My style of boxing is very boring because I'm a boxer. I'm not trying to fucking be hit.
I'm not a brawler.
Goddamn, and it's smart. Why do you want to get hit?
Well, that's why, and I do agree. Like
if his hand wouldn't have broke in that, you know, because I think where he fucked up was he did too many, what do they call them, gym wars, where he fought too many motherfuckers and he broke his hand, and I think that stole his power, and he didn't want to do it, he wasn't trying to break his motherfucking hand again, and, I think that's really what robbed us.
And he's one of the most technically sound boxers.
Oh, that motherfucker, he's bad.
He truly is a boxer, but it does irritate me, and
But he also did pick his opponents, very strategically, very strategically. He would either pick a young boxer who's still up and coming and still doesn't have their feet under them, aren't quite as experienced, so they're still learning. There's a lot to learn. It's not as simple as go out there and throw a punch, although if you're Mike Tyson, it is. Because if you connect with that punch, night. Simple. And Mike Tyson was taught that by Gus. And Gus, there's a video of Gus D'Amato displaying some stuff with Ali. Ali is fast as shit, and Gus was ducking. Gus was straight under it. And you could see Ali like, oh, he's like, man, Gus was bad. He was a really, really, really talented, boxing coach. And so you could see how those athletes and their legitimate play, their legitimate style of athletics brought that much more credibility to wrestling, which allowed them to make money. I mean, a lot more money than baseball players who had to legit do other fucking jobs to stay above water.
And that's where this black whites.
Or the
Black Sox.
Black Sox is a man. Totally know I did talk, I swear.
Oh, man. Can I have some more, sir?
No! That shit always got me in that song. No! It's like, goddamn, nigga.
So, it was 8 Men Out, which was a movie based on it. It was 8 of the White Sox players were accused of and found guilty of, at least in the court of public opinion and as far as the commissioner's office, of taking money to throw the World Series. One of those 8 was Shoeless Joe Jackson, who completely got shafted because he actually had the best numbers of anyone on either team in that World Series.
Yeah, and he got screwed.
And they said that he was a part of the scandal. Unless he took the money and was like, I'm just going to take this money and I'm not going to fucking do shit. I'm going to still go out there and play.
Well, if all those guys are doing it, it brings legitimacy to them trying to win. And the funny thing is, at first they were like, nah, fuck it, we're just going to go through with it. And then towards I want to say the 7th game of the 11 games that were going to be played during that World Series, because that's how it used to be. I think
it was 9 or 11. Yeah,
it was 9 or 11. Which also something I want to talk to you about, reformatting baseball. But keeping the same amount of games. So you have basically you have the preseason. We'll get back to that. So
I don't even remember how we got onto the Black Sox.
Because we were talking about the Houston assholes.
Oh, that's right.
The World Series.
That's right.
Those dudes should be inducted because they actually didn't. That I can understand why they were driven to do that. They don't get paid shit. The owner is making
and not all of them should be inducted because they weren't all Hall of Fame players.
Well, yeah, but
Shoeless Joe Jackson needs to be in there.
And
that dude was. I mean, obviously, I never got a chance to see him live, and
I did. He was fantastic.
But you look at his numbers and you hear everyone that was around that era talk about him, read what they said about him. That motherfucker was good. He was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He was a Hall of Famer. And he got screwed out of it. And so...
That sounded funny.
Yeah, it did. It sounded like fucking 2 cats. Fucking
shit goes off at like 2 a.m. when you're playing Dead Space. Let me fucking tell you, nigga, your first move is like, pause, let's kill all the light. What the oh, it's cats. Oh man. Ooh, you fucked me up. And Dead Space 1, because that's actual horror. Dead Space 2 is more just running around shooting shit. It's fun, but it's not
fun
horror. Yeah.
1
was, if you haven't played it, go play Dead Space. Fantastic game.
Fantastical.
Back to Boss Ball.
So,
I serenaded ya.
Serenadal. Fucking.
Serenade O'Connor.
Oh, man. What was it? Fucking.
All I could think about
Sinatra wanted to beat the shit out of her.
Who?
Sinatra?
Oh, yeah, because she ripped up that picture of the Pope.
Yeah.
But to be honest, fuck the Pope. You know, really, when you look throughout history...
Well, it wasn't that John Paul who was
He's a douche.
the dude that sold fucking nerve gas to Hitler?
Yeah. Oh, there's a whole thing where they think, like, there's 5 or 6 years, we'll say 4 to 6 years, just kind of mysteriously gone out of Vatican history. Want to know why? Because the Pope of the time literally was praising the Germans for extinguishing a certain group of people. And I'm not talking about the gays or the gypsies or the homeless. They had
or the special needs.
Yeah, it was a triangle, a pink triangle, I believe. Those people, they were going after them. Oh shit, and Elon Musk saying, well, we'll just put symbols next to people's names, and if you're Jewish, we'll put a star. It's like, excuse me, nigga? Is your favorite number 88?
Right.
You that's some I mean, when you really think about it,
those of you who don't know,
88 means Heil Hitler.
Yeah, 88 is a neo-Nazi slogan thing that they put on shit, and it's HH, the 8th letter of the alphabet, HH, Hail Hitler.
Yeah. So that's their thing. And it's like, to be an American and do that is beyond me. Like, you know what your granddaddy did, right? You know what the fuck that nigga had to go do, don't you? He wasn't over there siding with these niggas, he was fighting them. Like, what are you doing?
His boys were killed by them.
Like, what are you doing? You don't have to be a fan of the Jewish faith or people, you know.
Or any of the groups that Hitler targeted.
Yeah, but someone you should be, I don't know, maybe your granddad, maybe our kin, anybody American who went over there, I should say anybody from these United States of America, you know, Middle America, Lower North America. Or no, wait, is Mexico the start of Central America?
No. Well, Central America doesn't actually exist. It's not a continent.
Yeah,
they just use it as a fucking...
Well, yeah, I use it as a separator.
But, so technically it's basically the Panama Canal is where the continent's split. It's where Panama meets Colombia is basically where North America ends and South America begins. Is it Ecuador? Whatever the fuck it is. I'm not a globalologist.
We're flat. What the fuck? It's like, so we're flat.
Oh, dude.
But we have a dome.
I didn't say that one.
Let's not.
No, just go. I read this amazing explanation of flat Earth on Reddit, and I can't remember if it was like I think it was on one of like the facepalm or something like that, or it was a comment below, but it was brilliant. Like, it was extremely thought out. It wasn't as simple as it's flat. It's like, it's flat and there's these barriers, but beyond those barriers, there's this stuff that you have to get to a certain level to be able to get to, like, all this stuff. I'm like...
Bitch, we sent Voyager out in 77. It turned around in 80-something, 82, maybe even fucking longer, turned around, looked back at Earth through Saturn's fucking ring. So, how far are we going? Because, I mean, if you want to say the universe is
basically
flat,
all that shit is just, that's not real.
Because that is
it's a
theory that the universe is flat and it's just an ever-expanding plane. You know, okay, if you want to go that route, but nigga, you said
Earth.
The globe. You said that the globe is flat. Some people do. The globe is flat. The globe is flat? Yeah.
Yeah.
Globe.
But yeah, dude, in like,
That
fuck, I can't even remember
object?
everything that was in it, but like in that explanation of like flat Earth, but it had like all these like special creatures beyond the wall, like beyond the barriers that you have to get to a certain
How the fuck do you know? Like,
dude, it was pretty epic though. I was like, this person
Or what's
is on
the other one?
like
What's
this
the-
person is on such a trip that they just came up with this whole fucking theory.
that's like the people who say that the Jews are Satan worshippers. It's like you do know that that's Christian invented, like,
Well, not just that, not just that
800
is true,
years after.
but not just that. The Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians worship the same God.
Same God.
Same God.
Same God.
All the same God. It's different prophet whose teachings they follow, and don't follow very well. Christians.
Oh, they don't follow that shit at all.
But so to say that, you're saying that you're also a Satan worshiper.
That's what happens when you let uneducated people talk.
Yeah.
They just say stupid and outlandish shit, and then other dumb.
Yeah.
I'm just stupid. I'm dumb as fuck. Excuse me. No, a lot of these motherfucking people, they really are. Oh shit! Ted Cruz got a fucking beer thrown at him when he was at the parade at the assholes fucking celebration.
That's all they threw at him? Damn.
He got nailed, so I was like, yeah, fuck that punk. But
Like when your constituents are freezing to death and you're taking a flight to Mexico?
and then get shamed into going back to Texas. He's a fucking punk. And then you're
He's
gonna
a
let
punk,
the president
yeah.
talk shit about your wife.
Well, he wasn't
and then
president
you're
at the
gonna
time. They
go
were in a
back and
debate.
start blowing him.
Well,
like,
to be
you're a
fair,
little
he wasn't
bitch.
president yet. It was in a debate when they were both running for president.
I would legit, if I was president, I would have been like, FBI, go look into this motherfucker's background.
Yeah.
Because if he bends that easy to someone who ain't even an
in
enemy.
the 2016, right? Yeah, 2016 presidential race. Cruz was a candidate from the Republicans as well as Trump. Trump made some very unkind remarks about Cruz's wife.
He insulted his wife to his face.
To his face, not just to his face, like me and him sitting here during a debate on national television.
He said nothing.
And he got a little butthurt, but you know what ended up happening? When Trump became president, Cruz was kissing the motherfucker's ass. His lips were fucking orange,
ass.
bro. Orange. His lips were fucking orange.
He had his mouth firmly around the base of homeboy's Johnson. He straight bitched out. Like,
It's like I didn't have any respect really for him prior to that.
I lost all respect.
Any remnants of respect I had for Ted Cruz were lost in that moment.
I really have very low respect for both parties, but a lot less for the Republican Party, because they are treacherous pieces of shit. They literally will sell out everyone in their family if they can make a couple extra bucks, and then be like, I don't believe in welfare unless I get it. You know, they're assholes. But going back to, which again plays into, you know, a Republican playbook, is you are literally the only reason I am making this revenue hand over foot. And when you ask for a raise, it's legit no. So what the fuck you expect me to do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some money, motherfucker. I literally see how much dough you're making. You're making a lot. Remember, this is still back in the day where essentially if you were a rich dude, you fucking made the goddamn rules.
Yeah.
You made the laws.
That hasn't really changed, but
because
the amount of money that is required to do that
it's a lot easier to bribe a nigga. I can straight go in with a briefcase and be like, you gonna take it, bitch? And then it'll be like, nope. Be like, all right, I'm gonna walk over to your competitor and I'm gonna make that motherfucker rich, and then we're just gonna shit on you.
Yep.
They did underhanded shit all the time. They still do underhanded shit all the motherfucking
But yeah,
time.
getting back to that, because, you know, tangent, go figure, we just hit like 4. We've hit so many. We started off talking about Farscape, and we've ended up talking about slavery. We've been talking about baseball, politics, Ted Cruz bitchness, fucking. He really is. Flat Earth. We've hit some topics, but getting back to the baseball, so we can get back to the Farscape. The Black Sox, the 1919 White Sox, Chicago White Sox, had 8 players suspended permanently. They are banned from baseball, including Shoeless Joe Jackson, for taking money to throw the World Series. Fast forward to 2017? I think it was 2017, right?
I think so.
When the Astros beat the...
Yeah, 2017.
The Dodgers. So fast forward to 2017, the Houston Astros were accused of and later found to have been using electronic means, and it was funny, they used both high and low tech means to cheat. So they would have someone with a feed in center field zoomed into the catcher to see what pitch was going to be thrown. So those of you who do not know baseball, the catcher will put down signs to let the pitcher know what pitch to throw or to suggest what pitch to throw. So if you know what pitch is coming as a baseball player, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to hit. Especially when you know when and what they would do is they would do that. They would have someone, in the hallway by the dugout watching the footage and then hitting a trash can anytime a fastball was coming. So as a baseball player, it's hard to hit breaking balls, changeups, curveballs, sliders, anything that isn't a straight fastball, unless you know it's coming. So if you don't know but if you know a fastball is coming, you can load up, you know what you're looking for. There's no break on it. It's going to be in this area.
You're just putting wood on cork.
And so they would bang a trash can lid every time a fastball was going to be thrown.
So you knew.
And they got called out on it a few times during the season, like in the championship series against the Yankees. I remember a few times they're like, "What the fuck is that? What is that?" Every time, just. So they were using high tech with the cameras and everything, low tech with the garbage can. That's how they were relaying it. So.
And then there's the whole Altuve hitting the home run,
and then not wanting his shirt taken off.
When you hit
and it wasn't a home, it was a walk-off home run. A lot of times
when you come around the bases, you are going to get attacked. People are going to literally be pulling.
And I've seen plenty of times where the shirts get ripped open. I mean, it's just buttons holding it closed. When you got 4 or 5, highly athletic, well-trained individuals that do lift weights,
And it's me jumping over him and 2 other guys so I can be like, when I come off.
They're not trying to rip the shirt off, but they're celebrating, getting so...
And he's your buddy, so I'm going to punch him, I'm going to kick him, I'm going to knee him, I'm going to slap him, but it's not in the face.
So, a lot of times the shirt does end up coming ripped open. Some of them will just say, fuck it, tear it off, and woo! Or, they'll be walking around with
wild.
That dude fucking... is a piece of work.
Yeah, Joe Francis,
Man, let's try and steer the ship. Let's go.
I mean, it's getting steered either way, just not
the right direction. But there was an episode, and I mean episode as in a moment, not a TV show, where Altuve hits a walk-off home run that year, and celebrating, and he's no, don't rip my shirt, What? And his excuse was that he had gotten a bad tattoo of like his wife's name or something.
Yeah, and it's like, nah,
that's the excuse that he gave.
They cheated, and they didn't get anything for it.
Their punishment.
Pete Rose gambled on winning, and they did not. He did not try and make his team lose at all, and he's denied getting in.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds never tested. Roger Clemens never tested. Well, I think Roger did.
No, neither of them tested positive.
So you get that, and then you have Manny Ramirez, where we know he did it. A-Rod, we know he did it. Fucking Ortiz's fat, lazy ass. How the fuck do you not even try and lose weight? That, ever since I was a kid, kid, I'm like, okay, so Galarraga, you know, who else was there? Tony Gwynn. You have all these people who were big, who would attempt, you know, to do shit, who were naturally good hitters. So is he, but half the time, like, I'd watch him, and it's all like he does nothing, and he's just like, he's crushing these balls. I'm like,
dude,
something seems...
Before he went to the Red Sox, when he was with the Twins, his highest home run total, I think, was like 19 or 20. And that was, he did that once. And other than that, he was like low teens, if not like 12, in like 3 or 4 years leading up to that. And then all of a sudden it jumps up into the mid 40s.
That's
for the rest of his career.
For the rest of his career. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. And he was an okay hitter. And then all of a sudden, he's a fucking
And that's the best way to
hitter.
put it. He was an okay hitter.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. I meant to call fucking Manny Ramirez a lazy piece of shit. You know, David Ortiz, he just...
So I just pulled up David Ortiz's baseball reference page. And mind you, he didn't play, only 3 of the seasons did he play over 120 games. Oh no, 2 of them with the Minnesota Twins before getting let go and Boston picking him up. So his rookie year, where he played 15 games, 1 homer. Second season, he played 86 games, 9. Third year, 1999, he played 10 games, no home runs. And then in 2000, he played in 130 games, hit 10. 2001, he played in 89, hit 18, so that's a pretty good ratio. And then in 2002, he played in 125 games and hit 20 home runs. And then fast forward 1 year, in Boston in 128 games, 31. Then it just jumps 41, 47, 54, 35, 23, 28, 32, 29, 23, 30, 35, 37, and then finally in his final season at 40 years old, 38 home runs.
I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, because he was the DH, I wouldn't be surprised if Major League Baseball was doing allowing the same bullshit they allowed in 2017. They knew it because the Yankees did it. Several other teams got caught doing it, got called out for it.
But yeah, so getting back to what the Astros did is, so they were using that method to cheat, which is why...
Which allows you to score a lot of
more runs.
Like,
and
score a lot of
and
runs,
not just score more runs, you're knocking the other team's pitcher out sooner. So they have to go through there. So by game 3 of a series, they've exhausted their pitchers a lot more. So it makes it to where it's a huge deal.
The fastball is the most thrown. It is the workhorse of 90.
There's a few pitchers that throw more like other pitches.
95%.
Yeah, there's a few pitchers that'll throw more.
But they're stupid because how long does their fucking careers last?
Oh yeah.
How long?
Well, and then you have some guys that throw more breaking balls than fastballs. But
I can
regardless
understand
of that,
changeup, you know, are actually using a 2-seam, a cutter, and a fast. See, this is the problem with baseball is motherfuckers get, you know, they fall in love with high-powered shit instead of doing what they did back in the day.
Yeah.
Being a real pitcher means you know how to pitch, not just I
can reach back and throw. Yeah.
And then it's like, all right.
That was me like freshman year when I first pitched.
Timmy, he lost 4 miles an hour on his fastball. What happened?
Yeah.
He started getting crushed. You look at a lot of these dudes, they lose a little bit of velocity. Their shit's gone. Verlander.
Well, what's crazy is with Timmy,
turned it around.
With Timmy, it's crazy because he still had great breaking and off-speed stuff, but because he lost those 4 miles an hour off the fastball and he wasn't good at locating his fastball because he didn't need to when he was throwing 98, 99, 100. When he was throwing 92, he had to, because at that level, 92 is, you know...
You see 92 more than...
Constantly.
Yes, so it's
like 90 to 95 you see all the time. Then you get to 95 plus, and then you get to triple digits, and it's a whole different beast. So when you're throwing that hard, and it had a little bit of movement, so, it was a flat plane, but it would move along that plane. He didn't have sink or anything, but when you lose that velocity... And coupled with not being able to put the ball where you want it, so it may end up close to the hitting zone, more often than not, and because you've lost that, they can sit back on your other pitches longer, which means that if you're throwing a breaking ball, I can sit on it longer and see that it's not going to be a strike. When you're throwing 98, I got to respect that and start my swing a little bit earlier, and then you drop a changeup on me, and I'm like, I'm
now
done.
My bat is here, and the ball is still way the fuck out there. Out here, it does nothing. It's a foul ball. You know, you in baseball, your realm of hitting is a small little window. You got a small little
window. And the
window
great hitters, the guys that hit for really high average, really high contact rate, are able to keep their bat in that zone longer.
Barry.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn. You know, he really could keep that motherfucking barrel in that goddamn zone. But that's how you hit. And the assholes
So when you
cheated.
know what's coming, it makes it a lot easier because you can cheat.
It's not a guessing game.
So if you know, if the guy, regardless of how hard he throws, you can start your swing at a more fixed time because you know what's coming. You don't have to sit back. You don't have to sit back and try and figure out what's coming. All you got to do is figure out where it's going to be. That's it. Which is easier said than done if you've never done it. But if you're at that level, that's a massive advantage.
It's a lot easier.
In 1919, 8 players from the White Sox got suspended, banned for life. For taking money to throw the games,
which they did the first 5 and then played the next 6 hard because they seen that they were just that much better.
And then you jump to 2017 with the Astros, who are cheating to win, mind you. They're not throwing it.
And make a lot more money for the organization and personally because of the stats that they put up.
Exactly.
They would make a lot of money.
They knew what pitch was coming. Well, not what pitch. They knew when a fastball was coming. Let me rephrase that. Because knowing what pitch would be knowing if it was a curveball, changeup, slider, name it. They knew when a fastball was coming.
Which is going to be thrown about.
You're going to see a few. You're going to see a few in each at bat, especially if the other teams don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah, they're just going to throw because you have to throw a fastball. If I can't find the strike zone,
they won the World Series on the back of cheating.
To do it with,
and it came out a couple years later, and then finally the league looked into it, and they're like, "Yeah, this probably did happen." So they fined the team the most that they could, which was like I don't know, a couple $1 million. Which, when you're talking about what a team brings in, that's nothing. That's not even one game. They make more than that in a game. So it was worth it, especially in the postseason, because they're not paying the players' salaries in the postseason. So
you get a bonus.
But their salary is for the regular season. So they, fast forward to they get that. The players don't get any punishment. The manager ends up getting suspended and then fired. The bench coach, who then went on to manage the Red Sox, who the next year won the World Series in 2018.
And did the same shit.
On the back of, no, they didn't use it. They went a little more sophisticated. They didn't use a garbage can. They had like an Apple Watch or something that was relaying the information.
But they were doing it before he got there. I'm telling you, the AL has been doing this, and it's mandated from baseball, allegedly. But if you really think about it, obviously it's what the fuck they're doing. To push the DH. They've been trying for a while. When we were in high school, the numbers clearly indicated a 177 batting average, and literally Tino was the only motherfucker. Edgar Martinez was the only motherfucker who was actually hitting in the DH.
And then really he was, what they did. Initially they used it as a way to get an extra hitter, but a lot of times it was an aging slugger or something like that, someone that could not play the field anymore. So we're going to bring him into DH, but a lot of times they were kind of past their prime, and it was like
he can still hit. He just can't feel.
He's better than a pitcher at the plate, but
naturally they really weren't, because they weren't playing.
So, but then a lot of teams, like in the late 90s, and then especially like when you start getting into the 2000s and the 2010s, is they started utilizing that DH spot. Who?
Palmeiro. Pudge was lightweight, being used in that role when he wasn't catching.
When all these guys,
fat ass David Ortiz, who didn't do shit. Who's fucking I mean, he wasn't that bad at first base. But I just don't like cheaters. That motherfucker cheated. Got caught for cheating. And then when another fucking Dominican gets caught cheating, he's essentially just like, fuck it, they should be allowed. Because you were allowed, you fucking cheater. Get the fuck out of here. And then he's allowed. I mean, my hate isn't personally towards him. It's literally how he's allowed to cheat, but Barry isn't. That's an actual Hall of Famer against some nigga who cheated his entire career. Then we're going to deny Clemens and Bonds, who literally sat around and been like, he's cheating, he's cheating, he's
and
cheating.
And been already carved out Hall of Fame careers.
Watches Bud Selig see them do it, essentially. Not essentially, but he knows, Bud knows. And Bud's just like this, I see nothing.
Well,
even though
we went over this when we talked about PDs and stuff like that, is that 1998 home run race saved baseball.
Yeah.
And that was by two people who are alleged to have used steroids.
Oh, they totally fucking used.
Oh, no, I know. But I'm using the... Well, actually, I think McGuire was proven to have used it. It's still all, alleged that Sammy, but when you look in the way he played, he went from being a singles hitter.
Same thing with him. He went from being a singles to all of a sudden this motherfucker's hitting 60
home runs 3 straight years.
And he corked his bat. How many times did he cork his bat? Oh, that was an accident. And
he got caught once, but we don't know. We don't know how many times. Oh, no, that's my BP bat.
I'm not a fan of Clemens, but he should be in the Hall of Fame. And it pisses me off that these other people got caught and baseball is just literally no. But Barry,
they didn't even. Well, and then getting back to the Astros, so let's. They didn't even have to abdicate the World Series because it would be a black eye in baseball. They didn't even have.
That's how you know.
And the same thing with the Red Sox. They didn't have to abdicate even though it was proven that they cheated throughout the season and to win the title, which they don't even have what. And I'm not saying give it to the other team, because then you start playing with games where
you want it to be an intentional black mark.
Exactly.
And you want it to be hard on the Houston assholes.
And make sure that, in the record books, you put no champion, Houston Astros caught cheating, or something along those lines. Same thing in 2018. Like, really let it be known. And then, but the fact that these players who were the centerpiece of this cheating scandal received no punishment. Nothing. Not a fine, not a suspension.
Blatantly cheated.
Nothing.
That means it was what? Mandated by the motherfucking league. They allowed it to happen. Look at all the years that they used the numbers to fucking make a league-wide DH.
Yeah.
They're using those skewed fucking years. And they're particularly, I bet you any money, using certain motherfucking teams on the East Coast because they're easier to... Oh, well, they're the most popular and they make the most money. No, your cities are just old. And you motherfuckers refuse to make it easier for West Coast teams to travel. East Coast teams come over in any sport and they do a West Coast run where it's like 3 cities and they're back fucking the East.
Yeah.
And they're fucking
then for
just up
the
and
West
down.
Coast teams, it's like, all right, you're going to go here and then you're going to go here.
Literally
so you're going to go to New York and then you're going to go to
San Antonio
and then you're going to go to Toronto and then you're going to go to Florida, both the Florida ones, and then you're going to go here and then you'll go home.
And it's like, dude, what the fuck is up with that bullshit? They know what they're doing. They want to keep it East Coast centric because they feel there's more fans that are able to move around and do shit. But newsflash, those cities kind of really fucking suck because they're old, they're crammed, they're jammed, and they're just, you don't give a fuck about your city, so they look like shit. You come out west, there's just naturally, we were developed later, so there's more open space. It looks nicer. I've been to New York. There's fucking nothing to write home about. It looks like one giant fucking scum bucket. It holds no appeal to me. If you're from New York, I get it. You're from there.
Yeah,
and I totally
being from someplace and having love for it is completely different
and I
than
love
being
that,
from. That's
me and
fine.
You can argue about our sports teams, and it makes that much better.
Exactly.
When I
so
win,
like
or
that.
you
Exactly.
Win.
Like it's 100%. If you're from someplace, it just in general, not always, because there's some people that absolutely despise where they're from, whatever it is. But it holds a special place in your heart. It does. You will see the best and the worst of it and love both of it. I do it. I absolutely do. So I expect nothing less. So this is more for, as an outsider looking in, it doesn't have the draw that it is fed to me that it is supposed to. It doesn't have that whole gravitas where I want to do, like, it doesn't. I can get all of that here. So why am I going to do that? And I have more space.
It's just nicer. I'm not a big fan of East Coast.
Well, I'm not a big fan of like metropolises in the first place. Like true metropolises. It doesn't draw me in. It's like it makes me feel claustrophobic.
It's too calmy for me.
Yeah.
Like New York, I'm like, because it's an old city, so I understand, it being nothing but fucking concrete, trees, fucking nowhere. It's a square.
Outside of the parks.
It's a square, bro. Remove one little motherfucking square and put in a goddamn tree. It's not that hard. People actually need greenery. When I was there, I could understand
it's
not
depressing.
doing it in Manhattan. I totally get that. But when I'm in the other cities, because that's the fuck those boroughs are.
It killed me when I went there and I was like on the subway or whatever, and then you get off and you see.
Oh, that's the president of Queens.
Yeah.
You mean the mayor?
Like
that's what a fucking mayor
They
does,
had
bro.
things where it was like, it was borough council or some shit like that, like borough hall. Like, bro, you have a city council and a mayor. You're your own town.
That's why I'm on like New York. They're not that brilliant. If you said New York County, okay, I get it.
It's
that
like LA.
sense.
That's what LA is.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks of LA.
LA is the same
when
thing.
people say LA, they all think all of it's LA City. No, it's LA County.
It's LA
and they
County.
actually do. Like
it's switchy. There are individual motherfucking.
There's cities. They have other mayors. There's the mayor
of Los Angeles. You go to Long
Angeles.
Beach, it's not a district. You're going to the city, Long Beach.
Watts. I mean, like, you go down the list. It's all.
I'm in New York. I'm going to Coney Island. That fucking place? You mean Santa Clara? Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about?
Queens. You're talking about San Mateo?
It's like we really got to get off of this old school ass terminology. New York, the city that never sleeps. They don't say that as much anymore because it's like, well, yeah, that applied in like the fucking 50s and 60s, bro.
40s, the 30s.
Every fucking city now is like we really need to update.
Every major
shit.
City
is
up.
All
night.
motherfucking night. But going back to baseball, they cheated. MLB knew they cheated. They wanted them to cheat so they could put the DH in because they got tired of, people actually playing the fucking game because they're bitches. And honestly, modern businessmen are dumb. They're devoid of any creativity. They're, they lack
This is true.
proper, they lack the proper creativity and intelligence to get the pulse of what's going on, within the fan base, how the sport is, and growing the sport. What a lot of these organizations don't understand is money is made where? In the fucking postseason. Why do we still have a very, very tiny postseason?
Yeah.
And this is what I want to talk about with baseball. I want there to be every league, and basketball could do this because it's been shown that a team could come within 9 games of going perfect.
Yeah.
Football has shown several times that you can have a perfect team. Baseball,
or at least during the regular season.
Yeah, during the regular season. Baseball needs to slide back to 160, or not back, but I believe go to like 142 games. Or really, I'd like 160. I'd like 116.
It was 154.
50, I thought it was 52.
No, I think it was 54, and then it was prior to that, or maybe it was 52, and then prior to that it was 44.
So I go lower than that, because now I'm invested in this motherfucker. These guys aren't as easy to go down and grab, just of the monetary logistics of it, and the legal logistics of doing some of that sometimes is very iffy. So you need to construct it in a way that you have these guys longer and they're actually producing. I do not want to see Mike Trout never be in the postseason.
He was in the postseason once.
Never.
Arguably the greatest player of his generation.
He's going to have a 20-year career. He went one. That's never. One time for 3 games and they got swept. That's never.
Arguably the greatest player of his generation.
If you
the greatest player, he's never been at the high. He's never been had the opportunity,
and that's happened a lot.
Yeah,
that you can't have that. You gotta fix that. One way to fix that is go to like 120, like 124, and then you keep this. You don't get rid of those games. You slide them over. You're literally just moving posts.
You have a better chance of doing it at like 144. I don't think that they would sacrifice that much money, because there's always going to be.
That's where. Listen, you're not sacrificing
there's
money.
A lot of teams that still
you're
won't
sliding
make.
the postseason over, which includes more teams. Any fucking team just on the bubble, any team just below 500, bitch. If you turn it the fuck on and you do what the fuck needs to be done, you play good baseball at the end of the season, you could truly be Cinderella, which now makes people, now when you bet, it's gonna, people who bet on baseball, it's gonna be wild. So it's like, it could fucking be anything.
Yeah.
So you're like, you know what? I am gonna put more money on that fucking wild card, on that Cinderella team. And then you see them do what the Rockies did, in 2014, 15, 16, whenever the fuck they did it, 11, 13, whatever year they did it. I don't know. I'm literally just throwing years out.
They went, I think, in 2007 when they lost.
Yeah, see, when they lost.
I think it was 2007.
And if you do that, now there's teams that weren't in it. Now they can make money.
Tigers.
Any team like the Marlins that fucking literally consistently put out a shitty product, you could be like, bitch, look at how easy it is to just barely get in. And you're going to pull this shit and pull the team from that ownership group, because all they're doing is bullshitting. And now the revenue share goes from 110 million or 60 million, whatever the fucking math you figured out, it blows up to a bigger number. And then
and even a more recent one than that is just popped in my head, was the 2014 World Series between the Giants and the Royals. Both were wild card teams.
You see what I mean? Now you blow it up, and now people, you're literally, now you
2002
have people,
when the Giants fucking lost. God damn it, Dusty, to the Angels. They were a wild card team.
Yeah, but they cheated. They moved the fences back,
which was actually proven during the series. During the series, they proved, they moved the fences.
That's some bitch shit. That's cheating. That's all. It's gamesmanship. No, gamesmanship is me being at second, looking at what the catcher is putting down, and he's literally giving the signs too slow, so I caught fastball. I have a system
now,
set
see,
up with
and that is different
that's
than
gamesmanship.
That's different than what the Astros were doing. It has long been accepted that if you as the runner on second are able to decipher what pitch is coming and can somehow relay it based on a movement,
that
based
is a
on
perishable object being somewhere temporarily, compared to a fucker like literally 100 feet up.
You can't miss when they're banging on it.
With a
whereas
telescopic
at second
scope,
base,
seeing his hand.
Yeah, and
perfect.
with the runner at second base, you could miss him giving you the sign that it's second base.
He can even see how he's fucking holding the ball, because he's positioned to where his glove is here and then the catcher is there. So he sees him literally perfect. He's looking at that motherfucker perfect. I see what you're doing. I see what he's doing. They cheated. And Rob Manfred, honestly, anybody who bet on that fucking series, and now since betting is legal, you have a case for suing Major League Baseball because they knew they were cheating. The NFL, all these organizations, they're kind of skewed towards their narrative. So being allowed to bet on these essentially, lightweight fixed games,
it's like betting on
bullshit.
Wrestling, like professional.
It's literally
wrestling.
Like they have wins and they keep wins and losses for wrestling.
Yeah,
bitch, you're giving this nigga the push, and I'm literally losing on purpose so they look good. Why would you mark that down? Now when you look at that, oh, he's a job guy, instead of looking at, but I got the crowd into every one of the dudes I helped them get over. So now that I helped him, what fucking incentive do I have to help him? Tony Khan, you're a dumb son of a bitch. He owns AEW. The first time they start making $1 million houses, $1 million pay-per-views is with CM Punk. CM Punk gets into it because all the other little bitch niggas in AEW don't like him because he's an actual real nigga. No matter what anybody says in wrestling, he may be, have a little bitch side to him behind, the behind the curtain and everything. But so did The Undertaker. Yeah. So did all these motherfuckers that were like, fuck you. You ain't ruining my career, nigga. I get a say in what the fuck goes on, especially since I'm making money for this motherfucker, and then you have these dudes who honestly don't know how to wrestle. A finisher means I hit you with it, it's done. These guys do 9 of them in a match, and then
no longer a finisher, that's just a move.
And then Anthony, and then you fall, and then I'm like, I won. What? Well, how come he didn't die when you hit him with the finisher?
Yep.
But you literally just barely hit him, and then he just drops. You guys have never been in a fight, have you? This is what I'm telling you. This is basic shit. If any sport you get into, you got to know the ins and outs. Wrestling used to be considered, semi-real. We knew the action was kind of fake, but you still believed, all right, they're doing something for him to win and for him to lose. There's rules to it. They don't even all they do is no disqualification matches, so you can do whatever you want. If I got caught with a bat in the ring, automatically disqualified. Anthony won. They don't understand that shit.
Yeah.
But these guys, CM Punk calls them out for them fucking with his money in his show when he doesn't interfere with their shit. So he calls them out on it. Come see me if you got a problem with it. These guys are executive vice presidents in this company. So instead of doing the adult thing and going to talk to, and talk it out, they go down and they see this dude when he's pissed. They get into a fight, and somehow CM Punk is outnumbered, yet he's the one that's not coming back to the company. These dudes who have yet to make you a $1 million motherfucking pay-per-view or house show, as they call it, for actual, having it at a stadium, and you're going to go with the people that don't make you money?
Yeah, that's smart business.
This is the problem when people... this is the problem with nepotism. Motherfuckers are given shit. They, literally, and
they don't have to work
money.
for it.
Yeah, and they're just
it doesn't hold the same value.
Shit, and they're just bow, and then you let dumb.
It's just like when you hand a kid $5 and when they have to work for $5. They're going to treat it completely differently.
It's a big difference. He's an idiot.
It's like when we were kids and we'd be given $20 to go to the movies, whatever. That's different than now when we have to go to work
and earn that
money, and it's like, do I really want to go to the movies? Whereas, in high school, it's like, fuck it, let's go.
Yep. Let's go. I got it.
All right, I got it. Let's get some food. Let's get this. Let's get that. Now it's like, oh, fuck, that popcorn's kind of expensive.
Even more expensive. It's fucking annoying.
So it's the same concept. He didn't have to work for that money, so it doesn't hold the same value to him as it would to his father.
Case in point, there's two sides to that. There's the person who doesn't understand how to do it, and there's the other person there's one person in nepotism who was handed, literally a get out of jail free card, and literally is just going to operate, and whatever happens. And then you have the other guy who understands, well, if I pay this guy a lot of money, they'll do good, which makes me look good. And that's Elon Musk. Oh, he understands. I just pay them since they do all the work.
But my name's on it.
Yes, and it'll make me look good, and then I'll slowly roll back on that, and then I get all the money, and
once their idea is already out and operable, I don't need them anymore.
To con artists too. And that's what Elon is. He's a massive fucking con artist. He really is. How long has he been saying Hyperloop? If you really look at it, he's been saying, Tesla's going to have the actual self-driving thing be fully actualized. No driver can go from New York to LA and blah, 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 blah. He said that shit next year since 2014.
Just like his, what the hell was their truck?
Yeah, he's full of shit.
I can't even remember the name
Tesla
of it.
battery, apparently that's full of shit. That dude's full of shit. And because he built that reputation, all he has to do is say a couple things. He's a little witty because he grew up with computers and he had money. Let's not forget, the Germans stole South Africa. They did. The Kefas stole South Africa. And then wanted to act like, why are all these black people hurting us? What the fuck? I stole your farm. Why are you mad? Just deal with it. And then want to get mad when the motherfuckers wanted to take it back. It's like, oh, all of a sudden there's a problem when we want this. You imprisoned Mandela solely for wanting to self-govern. Like, come on, dude. The Germans knew what the fuck they were doing. Yeah. Just like the bitch niggas, this new fucking chancellor is going over to Russia to sign the deal for fucking gas. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you people knew that this was a source of a major problem, and you're still gonna deal with them? This is what I mean. And then, motherfuckers, anybody in Europe, I do love you motherfuckers, but you really, really need to understand your livelihood, and you live in relative comfort because of the sacrifice that I don't want to make, but my government makes me make in our fucking spending.
Yep.
Your defense is because of me, nigga. Your military ain't worth shit. It's not. The only people I could say can hold their own are the fucking French. Literally, that's the only one on that continent that can fucking hold their own, are the French. The British, they've decided they're not a part of the EU, which is kind of a dumb move. But at the same time, in all honesty, and if I was president, I'd just walk over. Remember, I don't conquer shit. I don't own shit. We have decided we are a group. You and me are now going to work together as one. There ain't the United States of, or, the kingdom of great. Nah, that it's literally just the United States and Britain are now one motherfucking country, and we will literally rename it, the Empire of Terra, because it would be cool. Nah, you just keep it the same. We don't have to change no name. No, it doesn't really have to be
needs
anything.
To change.
We are just one. We're essentially one now. We never, when
really
we split from them.
Since 1812, since the War of 1812, it's been the U.S. and Britain have been.
We've been cool. We've been
since they fucking burnt down the White House. We've been cool.
They were gonna deal with the Confederates a little bit, just because better
It's
prices.
business. It's business.
Better prices. But the second Lincoln was all like, it's about slavery, the English were like, pretty much Europe said,
we're done.
Wash my hands of
Yep.
it. You made this about, human rights. I wash my hands of it. And that's where we've been going. So all these, little snowflakes and soy boys are all like, oh, this woke shit, the fake woke shit. Yeah, because it's done, again, by businessmen who are literally just
It's
trying
for profit.
to hop on the current bandwagon, and they don't know how to do it. So you're getting a bunch of ham-handed, ham-fisted shit that's just jammed in, areas that it shouldn't be, written by motherfuckers who, honestly, their biggest thing they had to deal with in life is mommy and daddy got a divorce, which I understand that could be psychologically damaging,
and it
but
can be tough.
guess what, it really ain't.
No.
Your mom and dad getting divorced is not a big motherfucking issue. Grow the fuck up, get over it, bitch.
We've been there.
It is not a problem.
No, it really isn't.
And if one of your fucking parents decides to skip state, then fucking guilt trip that nigga. So what? Your happiness is more important than seeing me? You can't move a city over? You gotta go all the way out there? Like, come on,
that
nigga.
even. Grow the fuck up, bro. It's time. It's time. It's not that difficult. Like, unless your parents are completely neglectful of you, your family's completely neglectful of you, then that's a different situation.
Hey, and I hate to say
but it's not always that case. And just because your parents got divorced doesn't mean it's that case. Just because one of them moves doesn't mean it's that case.
No.
Stop playing the fucking victim.
Yeah, get the fuck. That's, to me, that's playing the victim. Like, dude, you did not.
Bro,
unless your parents were
like a little on a personal note, my parents got divorced when I was like fucking 3. Like, I have vague memories of them together. That's it. My father moved out of state. I never once used that as a reason. Because it ain't.
It's not.
It's not. And it's like, oh, well, that's for you. No, it's how you fucking enter a situation and how you handle it. And if you always play the victim, you will be the victim.
You're just looking for an excuse. There's a big difference between trauma, and I can understand how, it was very traumatic for that, and as someone who has a lot of family members who have been affected by mental illness,
oh yeah,
a part of it, I hate to say it, is there is and I'm being pragmatic about it, there is a little bit of weakness in there. You have to have a strong mental, fortification against shit, and if you don't, it doesn't take much to knock a motherfucker off.
No.
If you've seen something truly traumatic, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a boulder knocking you off balance. I mean, if the wind blows and you get knocked off balance, it's like, come on, man, you need to get with it. We cannot have a nation full of fucking people who in the slightest wrong thing happens, they fucking collapse.
We went into it with like the whole thing of mental health and shit like that. If you do get knocked off balance, there is help out there. There's nothing wrong with being off. What's wrong is when you refuse to get help, and when you almost enjoy being in that position. When you don't have a problem with being in that position.
Okay. Now, this is going to be hard to understand because it's hard to explain. If you are mentally weak, you need to understand when you are mentally weak.
Yes.
If you are highly emotional, and I don't mean you break down and you start crying. I mean, even if you get incredibly fucking mad and frustrated at tiny shit, that means you are mentally fragile. You are emotionally fragile. Shit can move you off base very fucking easy, and that is something that you need to get a hold of, and you can fix. Our mind is very pliable.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these situations,
you've been trained to do that.
You go from anger to depression to any of these things. You can steer it back to neutral. You can steer it in any direction you want if you're able to get a handle on it and recognize when it's happening. because that's, I think, a lot of issue is people don't recognize it until after.
Well, and we work off of, our brain works off of being, retrospective. So when it happens, you need to understand, or after it happens, you need to review what the fuck happened. That's what PTSD is.
And what got you there.
PTSD literally is your brain trying to figure out, how the fuck did this happen? When did it happen? Why did it happen? What steps do I need to make to ensure that it doesn't happen again? But it's so traumatic when you get up to that memory, that certain, runtime in that memory, your whole shit just shuts the fuck down because your body and your brain is like, I can't handle that, because emotionally you get back there. Everything, you literally smell the shit. Memory is pretty strong, especially with shit like that gets beat into you or burned into you, and you're trying to avoid that, because that makes it a lot easier for other, mental illness to creep in.
Yes.
Because you put yourself in positions to, there's a pretty...
Well, it's just like, it's just like getting sick. Is being sick will open you up. Like if you have a small cold, it opens you up for other things because it's compromised. Your system's compromised. Same thing goes mentally. If something's affecting you, you are open for other things to kind of creep in, because the stability of your mental state is compromised.
It leaves you open. You become prey. Subconsciously, everybody could pick up on that. Oh, that person looks sad. If now the predator mode is turned on, I can get that motherfucker. If you're a male and it is a young female who's doing that, that's why it's very important. If you're a young girl, do your fucking best to not cry or look sad in public.
Let's be real. That's not even for young.
Yeah, for women, do not look weak.
Because there are predators out there.
I'd like, again, I'd love for you motherfuckers to run around naked. You feel safe enough to do that shit. But guess what? My kind has a lot of fucked up dudes who don't give a flying fuck. And a lot of them, I'll get away with it. I know I've done it before.
Yeah.
I've raped like 10 chicks. All you gotta do is, if you hit them hard enough, they'll stop screaming. And I hate to say it, we have literally they'll quiet and just stare at fucking the ceiling.
Or it'll be the situation where they'll coerce them into it to where they get them to almost be consent to it, but really they don't want to, because they've hit them in a situation of weakness, and they use their mouthpiece instead of their fist to convince them to.
Well, it's the implication, just like Dennis Reynolds. Watch look up on YouTube the Dennis system, and that right there, it's obviously comedy, and he's lightweight showing you, through this very well constructed little skit, how these motherfuckers think and how it's constructed, and how psychologically you can see how a chick will give it up without wanting to give it up. And I did nothing, but I set the stage with if we're in the motherfucking slaughterhouse and I'm over here like, shit'll go easier if you cooperate, can we do it? I asked politely.
Yeah.
She's over here like,
So it's like technically...
No, excuse me, let me revise that. Person, because it can happen to dudes too.
Oh, absolutely. You just need to be in that right state of mind or physical nature to be...
We're just removed from Halloween, but you want to hear some horror stories? Look up Booty Bandit prison stories.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, shit. And it's built into... Man has built into human, when I violate you at a certain point during the violation, you're going to shut down because of human preservation, and then I win. And that within itself,
that's what gets them off.
And they're all like, oh,
that's
power.
What gets them off. It very rarely is sexual.
Yeah,
for them. It's not, they get sexual gratification out of the domination It's not out of the penetration. It's not out of the feel. It's out of the domination. That's what gets them off.
And that is, honestly, ladies, you really, really need to understand there are a lot of crazy motherfuckers out there.
And
so
and really, this goes for everyone. Like you said, it can happen to anyone. Keep your fucking head on a swivel.
And I only say ladies because, especially in this current, climate, dudes are working out a lot more. They're taking a lot more over the counter, and behind the counter supplements to help them bulk up. So it's going to be a lot harder to fight some of these dudes. And a lot of it resides in college and in the military. So if you're in the military and you're a chick, watch your
If you're
shit.
in college and you're a chick,
Trust
be careful
nobody.
of parties.
Trust nobody.
Like legit, go back to the mentality of always travel in pairs.
Yeah.
And if you did not pour your drink and have it in your hand the entire time, if that ever left your sight, it's garbage now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, toss it.
Do not trust. And it's fucked up to say, and it sucks because there are guys out there who are legit, and they really, and girls out there. There's people out there that are legit, and they really do want to potentially start a relationship with you, and you are on guard. But you need to be. It's self-preservation. It doesn't mean to never talk to people. It doesn't mean shun everyone that comes up to talk to you. But it means keep your fucking head on a swivel.
Pay attention more.
And just be very aware of your surroundings. And this can go for everything, not just being taken advantage of sexually. This could be getting jumped, getting mugged, always be aware of your surroundings.
It's a fucking jungle out there, man.
And it's getting worse. Honestly, you see it constantly, and obviously news is gonna amp shit up. You see it constantly. But I talk to cops at work because they come in and frequent my establishment regularly. So I talk to them. It is getting worse and worse out there right now. It's almost like that year where everything was shut down, everyone was kind of away from normal society. We forgot how to act in society.
No. The problem is and they just came out, I forgot who came out with it, but, corporations are using the excuse of inflation to jack prices up extremely high again, which is why you should not trust and why you should always keep business personnel on a short leash. They're fucking thieves. They money...
Literally, their only purpose is to maximize profits. Make as much money with as little cost as possible.
They're a dope fiend. They're gonna rob that entire motherfucking house blind, and then just move on to the next one instead of being like, all right, well, if we get them on the long game, we could get...
They play the short... Exactly. They play the short game, not the long game. They're in it for today's dollar instead of the $100 going to make off of them over the next 3 years.
And the communist Chinese was right. They were all like, the American capitalist can be bought. That's why all these old motherfuckers gotta go. Nancy, need to retire, sit your ass home with your husband. Mitch, especially the Republican Party, because all these motherfuckers care, but they rather would have the country burn than see 24 to 36% of the country being treated, equal to a white person. That's literally what it is. Because I truly believe once all the old racist white niggas, and real racist, they really believe that, white people are the superior race. Even though Poles are white, they're inferior to you. Irish are white, they're inferior to you. So you niggas are so fucking stupid and inbred that, and really, you look at English and any European nobility, they were inbred as fuck. You look at any Arab nobility, they were fucking... were the Arabs?
like nobility
Arabs,
in
a lot
general.
of them were.
It was because it was keeping
Yeah, you gotta
keeping
keep
in the family.
bloodlines pure, and it's all like, oh, okay, that's why all these kids keep coming out looking retarded and die,
Looking like fish.
30 minutes after they're fucking born. I gotta get going though.
Yeah, and our camera's about to die too.
Oh yeah, so again,
Hey.
look up History Marsh. Look that shit up. They got great
Farscape.
stuff. Yeah,
Go check it out. Farscape. Go check it out. You know, I wanted to get back to it when we got down a tangent, but it's crazy how it just doesn't get brought up enough in sci-fi realm.
It's
Whereas Star Trek had a huge following, the original series, and then they grew more way down the line. Star Wars, huge following. In the originals, I get it. But then you have like Babylon 5 was around, had a huge following, so they brought it back. You go into, and so Farscape had a good run, and then got canceled, and then had a good enough cult following to where they made a made-for-TV movie. Whereas Firefly lasted one season. I like the concept.
Fireflies fucking suck.
I like the concept.
I didn't like it for shit. I liked the pilot, and that was about it.
Yeah, that dude's awesome. But that lasted one season and had such a cult following from one season that they made a major motion picture based on it.
And honestly, the only reason that they did that was because the a-hole writer was a script doctor on a lot of other shit. I personally don't like anything Whedon does, but I like when he touches shit up. His comedy can be thrown the fuck out the window, but he does know how to touch.
But I felt like Farscape was superior to that, and lasted longer. Yet they just got a made for TV, whereas Firefly lasted one season and then got a major motion picture. So it is based on just that little segment of talking about the other series, sci-fi series, and how they got run. Farscape, in my opinion, is one of, if not the most underrated and overlooked sci-fi series of all time.
Yeah. On another note, 25 years ago, like 3 days ago, Starship Troopers.
Yes, I saw that.
It's awesome. All right, I gotta get going.
All right, hey, later, y'all.
Go Giants.
Go Giants. Please sign some guys. Deuces. Hit that subscribe, like, comment down below.
Sign Judge.
Hey,
Judge
comment.
Dredd.
Let us know what's going on. Hit us up. Give us some ideas.
I am the law.
Later.
Deuces.